Let me scroll to the top here. We're going to start from top down this time. We'll start with Ian Steele, followed by Mark Daniels.
Hi, David. Can you hear me?
Got you.
Thanks. I'm curious if you thought about opting out of the season. I know you had the health scare last year, and if you're maybe even considering it now. I know Matt Lacoste opted out today. So where are you in that process?
No, it's something obviously we all have to think about and make our own choices. My choice has been made, and it's just something I feel comfortable with. To have the opportunity to go out and play, and talking with doctors and my wife is something we feel comfortable with, and I'm just excited to get the chance to go out there and compete again. And excited for the opportunity coming up.
Was there ever a moment or a thought that you considered stepping away, or was it pretty much as long as you had the clearance you were going to do it?
You obviously have to talk about it, right? It's something we've never faced. Nothing I've ever can really remember, having to deal with something like this, especially as a grown up. So, no, you got to talk about it. And, obviously me and my wife have made a decision that we feel comfortable with. And, like I said, we're just super ecstatic to get this thing going here.
Thank you.
Hey, David, how are you?
Hey, how are you, man?
Doing all right. We talked with Coach Belichick the other day, and he said that even the facility underwent a lot of changes this year to sort of help keep you guys safe. And I'm just wondering if you could tell us a little bit about some of the changes just within the building that you've noticed.
And, it's just obviously a lot of things are different. We're just trying to do the best we can, creating distance. We're very fortunate to have such great ownership in the Crafts, and everything that they've done. And the space we have available and utilizing that space, typically that we wouldn't because there was no need to. So, we can't say enough, with starting with the leadership down, and all the operations guys, strength staff and, equipment staff and medical staff, they're the real, driving force here to get this thing rolling for us, as a player, trying to make it as easy as we can to come in and just, go to work like we usually do.
And a follow-up, but earlier this offseason, I feel like the question we all asked you is about Tom Brady leaving, and obviously since then, 8 players have opted out, and I think we can all understand the health and safety concerns. But how big of a challenge is it to lose those group of people and several veterans as training camp's about to start? And what do you guys need to do to just move forward?
Yeah, you can't. It's just part of the business, unfortunately, at times, and like I said, it's kind of a crazy circumstances, right? So respect those guys' decisions, but. You'd have things like this before, guys coming in and then you're retiring, or, guy maybe saying he's going to give it a last try and goes out there for a couple of days and retires. So, it's things that you've seen part of it before, but, you just got to do what you can control. And, like I said, that's, nothing that I can do or control that. So, respect those guys' opinions, but, we just have to go out there and make the most of every opportunity we get here coming up. A lot of guys now are going to have a lot of great opportunities. Kind of think about how I got my start in this league, and kind of guys being banged up, different circumstances, but got an opportunity maybe I wouldn't have if guys were healthy at times. And so, a lot of young guys now, and younger players, got big opportunities, and just got to take them and run with them.
Thank you.
Next question will be Bob Socci, followed by Levin Reed.
Thanks, Stacy. David, how are you?
Good, Bob. How are you?
I'm doing well. There have been examples of Major League Baseball teams, the Marlins and the Cardinals, that have had a lot of problems, positive tests and so forth. And people point to the player's own responsibility and discipline. Any lessons you can take from what you've seen as an observer of what's taking place in baseball, and try to impart those lessons as a captain with all your teammates to be as strict and disciplined as possible, and also emphasize the same to families and whoever will be exposed to in each player's bubble?
Yeah, obviously don't know really what happened in those situations. Know they're dealing with it, but how did it really start? But you have to be as safe as you can. And there's obviously risk we're all taking here, and there's risk of going to the grocery store, filling up your car with gas, and So you just got to be as safe as you can, be as clean as you can, and you just got to try to stay on top of it. We'll see. Hopefully we've been fortunate so far, so hopefully we continue on this trend, moving forward.
Thank you.
Next question, Levin Reed, followed by Alex Barth.
How you doing?
Good. How are you?
I'm good. Just a football question. You were around the team a lot last year.
Yeah.
My question is just how much did you miss getting out there and competing because you were always there, but you really couldn't take part in what they were doing?
Yeah. Obviously it wasn't like a surgery or something like that I had. So there became a time in the season where, you start feeling better and better, and you're not on crutches, or you're not, obviously can tell your shoulder's busted up or knee or leg, whatever. Right. So, there became a point where I started to feel more and more like myself again, and healthier and healthier. And so there's definitely some frustration with that, and just, being there, and being so close to it, was good and bad, obviously. I wouldn't trade it or, change it, but, when you're sitting there right there and you can, hear and see it, and you just, wish you could put on pads, it's definitely frustrating at times. But, every player goes through it in their career at some point, unfortunately. And, so I'm just excited to get back to it. I love this game, and, just fortunate to be able to get to keep doing it right now.
Thank you.
Next question, Alex Barth, followed by Evan Lazar.
Hey, David, kind of on the same vein, you were around a lot. You were at practice. It seemed like at times you were even working with Coach Scarnecchia. How did your perspective change, and were there any things you picked up being on the outside looking in that you think you may not have learned in that same setting as a player, as an active player?
Yeah, because I wasn't getting ready for a game, right? I didn't have the stress. It wasn't, I could look at it from a different perspective to some extent, right? I really just started to look at, other guys, and, kind of refocusing on my film study, and because I had so much time to do that stuff. And, sometimes in the season it's hard to find time. You're meeting all day and maybe catching some film here and there. But I was really able to spend a lot of extra time watching film. The installs and things like that for me were, obviously a little different. Like I said, I wasn't getting ready for the football game. So I was able to really look at some certain things, whether it be pass rushers and tendencies, or, line stunts, and just try to pick up little things, re-engage in some film watching, almost like reset, and kind of look at it from a whole big picture, which is sometimes hard when you're kind of, in the mix every week, every day, because the season's just kind of like a whirlwind. And, obviously it wasn't like that for me. So I was able to take some time back and, utilize it.
Thank you.
Next question, Evan Lazar, followed by Megan O'Brien.
Hey, David, how's it going?
Hey, Evan, how are you?
I'm good. I wanted to ask you, you're only 14 padded practices by the league this year, and for you linemen, just no preseason games, only a couple of live practices, so to speak. What do you think that's going to be like for you guys?
Don't make the rules. And I don't know if it's better or worse. We'll see. The thing we can do is use all 14 days to our best ability, right? Go out and take advantage of each day. That's all we've got, so we might as well take advantage of it, and try to get the most out of those days. And kind of same mentality, kind of put your head down and go to work. And then but the preseason and the training camp is not the end all be all. It's not like we get through training camp and kind of like, all right, great work, let's just kind of coast through the season. I think something we've done around here for a while is progressively gotten better. And especially up front in the run game, just feeling better, always practicing those, you never go out there week one and feel like it was your best game, right? So, progressively each week getting better. And that's natural. And so, take advantage of what we do have, and then try to keep building on it throughout the year.
Thanks, David.
It looks like we have two final questions, Megan O'Brien and Mike Reese. Go ahead, Megan.
Hi, David. Earlier in the call, you alluded to how you made the team and stepped up when other guys were injured in your rookie season. Similar to Evan's question, just about the only 14 padded practices, but is there more of a sense of urgency for some of the undrafted guys to come in and really make a statement without having those preseason games to prove themselves more so than other years and the limited amount of practices?
Yeah, it's it just is what it is. But I think, like you said, like this league is just so much about opportunities, right? So, it's not like other teams are getting more opportunities or whatever. Each guy's getting the same amount of opportunities here. It's not like the vets are getting more. We're all going to be in this thing together, and you just got to take each opportunity you have, and you don't know what they are going to be, right? There was times where maybe in a practice I wouldn't get a lot of reps, and so you can't really be like, all right, preseason games, that's where I get all my reps. You just don't know what's going to happen. So, you got to take advantage of each opportunity, whatever it may be. And everyone's on an equal playing field with that. It's not like some teams getting more or less or, whatever it may be. So, each guy's got to take opportunity, even the veterans. We got to take opportunities of those days and just make the most out of them as we can.
And David, just to follow up, what advice would you give to an undrafted player coming in, given the circumstances and the shorter amount of time to earn a spot on the team?
I hate to sound redundant, but to me, it's just you got to take advantage of the opportunities. You got to play, each snap, each play, each walkthrough, each third. If there's a downtime in the day, be in your playbook. There comes lulls in training camp and kind of take a break. Everything has to be that much more heightened. I think for all of us too. Especially the young guys. You just have to take as much opportunities as you can, and they're going to be different opportunities this year than maybe they were last year for guys, or even my year. So, you just have to every little thing, every little attention to detail. Like I said, walkthroughs, practice, film studies, whatever it may be. And then, the coaches will make the right decisions, and hopefully it works out.
Thank you.
We're going to go Mike Reese, and then one last question after that, Max Cerullo. Go ahead, Mike.
David, great to see you. By nature of your position, you sort of have a direct connection to the quarterback. And so I was curious, just from what you've seen, what are some things you've learned or, noticed with Cam since he's joined the team, just getting to know him? What are impressive?
I think it's going to be an exciting year for us. I'm excited, especially with the guys and the talent we have in that room. Cam obviously has played a lot of football and had a successful career. And I was just excited to see what all our quarterbacks can do. They all bring something different to the table, and I think it's going to just make it for a fun year for us. And hopefully we'll get here working here soon as a team. Starting up and really get to. That's something that you kind of missed is you usually see guys, and so we haven't really seen our teammates as much, and so I think that's something we're all excited for here this week to start really working with each other in a real life sense and not a virtual thing.
And last question, Max Cerullo.
Hi, David. Hey, so you mentioned earlier how some of the younger guys are going to have the opportunity to step up and earn a place on the team. One guy who might have that chance is Yodny Kajust, a guy we haven't really seen much of, but who I know has been around for about a year now. And I'm just curious what your impression of him has been like, and what people might be able to expect in the the coming weeks from him.
Well, Yod's a great guy. I'm excited, to see him. Obviously, he hasn't practiced, so you guys have seen about as much as I have. So, we're excited. I think we've got a great room. I'm excited, getting more guys now that have been in the system longer, from last year carrying over. So, really excited just to see what we can all do. We all got a lot of work to do, like I said, in a short, amount of time. So, just excited to get together, compete with each other, and really start to build this thing, and build this football team.
David, thank you very much. We appreciate you kicking this off for us.
All right, guys. Thank y'all.
Thanks, David.
How do we inspire people to lead their healthiest lives? How do we bring everyone together so that healthcare finally works for all of us? We know how. We are the how. Optum. How well gets done.
Ready or not. Gillette ProGlide and ProGlide Gel. 5 blades and a pivoting flex ball designed to get virtually every hair on the first stroke while washing away dirt and oil. So you're ready for the day with a clean shave and a clean face.
What's my retirement savings plan? Oil, baby. Oil. Sprinkler pipe. Diane!
Why is this? Why is this it? Okay. Yeah, it should fit. It should fit.
The take it back for something smaller with the CarMax 7-day money-back guarantee way. Whatever your way, that's the way car buying should be.
How do we inspire people to lead their health?
No problem.
All right. We'll give it just a second here as people are. Give me 1 second. Okay, we're recording. Devin McCourty joins us now. We'll go ahead and start with some questions here. I'm going to start with Mike Giardi.
Hey, Dev. You hear me?
Yep.
The opt-out date seems like it's going to be midweek. We asked David. I'm going to ask you. I know you've started the process, but have you decided? Are you fully in for the season?
I appreciate the question, but I'm gonna be really short today. Actually, I've just been doing a lot of thinking. 2020, I think, has forced us all to think a lot, and I think one of the biggest reasons why I'm continuing to play football and doing all of this to what's the name and have fun doing it. Obviously, me and my family's been through a lot this year already, but I've always said it. You guys have known over the last couple of years I've been big on off the field things, and I think it's very important that I don't lose focus on that and that everyone around football doesn't lose focus on that. So I just wanted to talk about those issues. You're in my screen. Just wanted to talk about, I think, things that have been going on in our country. I think one of the biggest things that you've heard so many people talk about is justice, obviously for Breonna Taylor, young woman killed in her house because of different things, no knock warrants, just a mistake, going in the wrong house. Something we fought for here in Massachusetts, equal education with COVID-19 and all the different things that have showed up, the digital divide for different kids. If school remains virtual, kids having laptops, kids having Wi-Fi, will be some big issues that, the craft's already been a part of. And I see us trying to do something like that to help in the future as a team. Obviously, the healthcare inequalities have, really stood out with this virus. Communities, different hospitals just not having the resources to help. It's been a main reason why African Americans have taken a huge hit from this virus. So these are just some things that I think I want to focus on, and hopefully our team gets behind. Really, our team's already starting to do that. Also, police and community relationships, obviously with qualified immunity becoming a big subject in the country and in Massachusetts. Just seeing how that works out. And because of that, I actually had a conversation with minorities on the police force and just learning about their journey. And I think one of the issues that I want to get involved in this year is how to help elevate the minorities in the police department, making sure that's equal, and that they get the fair treatment. I think that all officers, because those guys and women talk about just a little bit of a different journey, very similar to everything else African Americans and minorities go through in our country. I think sometimes we forget about officers who are trying to climb those ranks and do those things. And I want to make sure that we try to shine a spotlight on that and help those guys and women out. I think lastly and most importantly is seeing a change in the sport we play. I think it's key that the NFL wants to get involved in making changes, but I think until we see those changes in our game and the head coaching position and GMs and ownership, seeing, African Americans, men and women, having those fair opportunities to do those same things that we speak about, being done in our country. I think it's hard for us in the NFL to go out there and speak and try to be very outspoken and be in the forefront without having those things in our league. So those are some of the things I want to focus on. I think we have a great group of guys on this team, obviously. And I think we're all locked in. We got great conversations all throughout the spring. And I just want to make sure that we start, and everything's about so many different things. And I just want to make sure we stay locked in on that. And I guess the only other thing I'll say about football is a lot of respect to those guys. Obviously, the guys that I got a chance to play with over years who decided to opt out. I've gotten to speak to all those guys, and it's a tough decision right now with everything going on, what you want to do as far as your family. But, I think for those guys, they made tough decisions, and a lot of people around are asking us how we feel about those guys. Like, they made a hard decision to forego your contract this year, not to have the opportunity to be around all the guys and how much fun we had. So I have a lot of respect for all those guys. We won a lot of football games together and gone through a lot of different things personally. And, those guys will still be my friends, still talk to them all the time. And then I guess the last thing is standing up and speaking up. The last thing I'll say is I think it's an absolute joke that the NFL is changing the opt-out period, mainly because they don't want to continue to see guys opt out. I'm sure they're shocked about how many guys have opted out. But it's the same thing when we sign a CBA. Sometimes some of those things that we think are good sometimes backfire. We have rookies who are locked in long-term contracts and tagged. You guys don't think we would love to change that about the CBA, but we can't. That's the point of signing an agreement. So I think it's terrible. I think it's BS that the league has changed that date because you guys know Monday will be our first day in the building. So to try to act like guys are making a decision about something other than virtual meetings is a joke, but I think it's something that we go through as players. And when players understand how much power we have, we've seen things change for us. I mean, primarily even with this deal, with the COVID-19 and trying to get everything back, we saw some of that strength. So hopefully we'll see how everything turns out come Wednesday, if that ends up being the deadline. But I support guys no matter what they decide. But I'm still out here having fun and figuring things out. So we'll see how we go. I appreciate it, guys.
Thanks, Dev.
Have a good one.
How do we inspire people to lead their healthiest lives? How do we bring everyone together so that healthcare finally works for all of us? We know how. We are the how. Optum. How well gets done.
Ready or not.
Gillette Pro Glide and Pro Glide Gel. 5 blades and a pivoting flex ball designed to get virtually every hair on the first stroke while washing away dirt and oil. So you're ready for the day with a clean shave and a clean face.
What's my retirement savings plan? Oil, baby. Oil. Sprinkler pipe. Diane!
Why is this? Why is this it? Okay. Yeah, it should fit. It should fit.
The take it back for something smaller with the CarMax 7-day money-back guarantee way. Whatever your way, that's the way car buying should be.
How do we inspire people to lead their healthiest lives? How do we bring everyone together so that healthcare finally works for all of us? We know how. We are the how. Optum. How well gets done.
Ready or not.
Gillette Pro Glide and Pro Glide Gel. 5 blades and a pivoting flex ball designed to get virtually every hair on the first stroke while washing away dirt and oil. So you're ready for the day with a clean shave and a clean face.
What's my retirement savings plan? Oil, baby. Oil. Sprinkler pipe. Diane!
Why is this? Why is this it? Okay. Yeah, it should fit. It should fit.
The take it back for something smaller with the CarMax 7-day money-back guarantee way. Whatever your way, that's the way car buying should be.
How do we inspire people to lead their healthiest lives? How do we bring everyone together so that healthcare finally works for all of us? We know how. We are the how. Optum. How well gets done.
Ready or not.
Gillette Pro Glide and Pro Glide Gel. 5 blades and a pivoting flex ball designed to get virtually every hair on the first stroke while washing away dirt and oil. So you're ready for the day with a clean shave and a clean face.
What's my retirement savings plan? Oil, baby. Oil. Sprinkler pipe. Diane!
Why is this? Why is this it? Okay. Yeah, it should fit. It should fit.
The take it back for something smaller with the CarMax 7-day money-back guarantee way. Whatever your way, that's the way car buying should be.
How do we inspire people to lead their healthiest lives? How do we bring everyone together so that healthcare finally works for all of us? We know how. We are the how. Optum.
Okay, we're recording. Matthew Slater has joined us just a few minutes early. Thank you for joining us early, Matthew. We're gonna we'll open this up for questions in just a second. I'm going to start with Bob Sosi. Go ahead, Bob.
Bob, real quick before you go, I just wanted to say something. Got a chance to see what Devin said and heard some of his remarks. I do think that it would be a little bit tone deaf of me if we didn't first acknowledge everything that's gone on in the world since we last met, starting with COVID. And I know that it's affected us all differently. Whether it's affected us from a public health standpoint, personally, or whether it's affected us, economically with people losing jobs and struggling to provide for their families, people losing businesses, and then obviously where we sit socially right now and everything that's going on, certainly within our country as it pertains to racism in particular. And it's something obviously that it rings a chord, it strikes a chord in me personally and my family, as well as many of my friends and loved ones. So all those things being said, I do think that for me, it's important to acknowledge one thing. And for those of you that have been covering me for a long time, you know that I am a man of faith in Christ. And I do feel like during times like these, it's important to step back and put things in perspective. And you realize that we live in a fallen world. There's a lot going on. There's a lot of uncertainty. There's a lot of doubt. There's death. There's suffering. There's pain. And obviously socially, you talk about the sin of racism and how it affects the heart and how that's plagued our society, unfortunately, since its beginnings. And I think that now more than any other time, obviously the need has always been great, but I think it's important for me to acknowledge how I see the role of Jesus Christ in this situation. And I feel like all of us in life search for purpose and things that will give us meaning and allow us to carry on with hope. And I certainly think that for me, to be able to surrender during this time has been huge, and realize that, hey, as much as we try to live lives where we think we're in control, we don't have control. There's only one person, as far as I'm concerned, that sits on his throne and is in control every day. And we all have a need for him because we're all imperfect, just trying to find our way. And I don't think I'd be doing anyone justice if I didn't encourage us all to look a little bit deeper than ourselves and our profession and even our families as we try to navigate this uncertainty. I do find encouragement because, again, as I mentioned, I do believe that Christ is on his throne, and I do believe that where we fall short, he is enough. Where we make mistakes, that he is enough. But I also believe that he cares about justice. I also believe that he wants us to be kind, to do justice, and to walk humbly with him. like the prophet Micah says. So I do pray that we'll find it within ourselves to be better. I do pray that we'll find it within ourselves to continue to have hope in one another. And I do pray that we will find it within ourselves to avoid division, to avoid hatred, and to seek the things that are right in the world. I think right now we're living in a time where there's so much division, especially within our society, that it leaves people questioning what is true, what is right. And again, as I said at the beginning of this, there's only one person that I believe holds ultimate truth, and that is Christ himself. And I pray that he continues to guide us through this time. So I will take some questions, but I do feel like that I needed to say that before we got started this year. I appreciate you guys being patient with me and being willing to hear me out. So Bob, go right ahead.
Oh, thank you, Matthew. Thanks for those words, and I'll try to relate this to some of the points you stressed. I read some of your remarks about your decision to play this year, balancing concerns for your family, concerns for yourself, with the risk potentially of playing amid the pandemic. And I was curious, especially based on what you just said, and I wonder how much it applies with other people too. How much of the role that you can play as a football player and the platform you can have with regards to trying to amend the social injustice, the inequities, the things that are very important to you when it comes to racism and the Black Lives Matter movement. Did that factor into your decision to play, that you would have perhaps a better opportunity? Was it some part of the soul searching you did, or the answers you sought in your prayer and faith, what your best role could be in 2020, if that makes sense?
Yeah, good question, Bob. I think that's something that factored in. I know as a man, though, my first two responsibilities are to love God and to love my neighbor. And as I think about that, my immediate neighbor is my wife Shahzad and our three children. And as a man, as a husband, I have a responsibility to lead them, to provide for them, and to protect them the best way that I feel is fit, as I pray about it, as I seek the Lord on it. And certainly that was the number one thing that factored into my decision was, am I fulfilling my responsibilities as a leader of my home? Because if that's not in order, then anything that I try to do outside of my home really is going to be minimal. The impact is not really going to be felt as strongly. Obviously, we have a unique platform as professional athletes, as NFL football players. We have a chance to connect with people and do things that otherwise we wouldn't have had the chance to do. So I'm certainly thankful for my platform at a time like this, where I feel like division is so prevalent in our society, and my hope is to bring a sense of oneness. And again, that oneness in my mind can only be brought through the gospel of Jesus Christ. So I feel like I can use my platform in a positive way this year. Obviously, it's going to be challenging with some of the restrictions that we have with COVID. But my hope is that what little influence that I do have, that I can point people in the direction that I feel like is the one true answer for them, and that's to the person of Christ, and try to bring people together, understand what justice looks like. Not only, you talk about social justice, but I think biblical justice, which does have, a lot of correlations to some of the things we see socially, and to try to serve the best way I can from that point of view. So I'm thankful for the platform I have. I'm going to try to use it to the best of my ability. But again, at the end of the day, my number one responsibility outside of serving the Lord is to take care of my family.
And just very quickly, based on what you have learned since you made that decision in the testing process and what little exposure you've had to the facility itself, are you confident? Are you less concerned going forward now based on some of the steps that have been taken with the organization that you've seen firsthand?
Look, excuse me. I do feel good about the direction that we're headed in, and we're very fortunate. We have a great deal of resources at our disposal here, and that's something I don't take for granted. You look at what's going on around the country, and resources have been an issue for a lot of people. So we do have a number of resources that I think are going to help guide us through this time. I have a lot of confidence in our medical staff, but at the same time, this is unpredictable. It's novel. It's new and emerging. So we'll see how this goes. We'll have to take it one day at a time. We'll have to really have a lot of faith and trust in each other as we operate, trying to do what's better for your neighbor, for those around you. That's going to be a common theme this year, and it's certainly going to be no different for us as we attempt to play football this season.
Matthew, thank you.
And I will apologize in advance if anyone who has a hand raised here was from a previous interview. So I'll just go down the list here. Evan Lazar, if you have a question, go ahead.
No, I'm all set. Thank you, Stacy.
Okay, next up, Megan O'Brien.
No, I'm all set. Thank you, Stacy.
Okay, that's what I was afraid of. Those were, Matthew, sorry about that. That's from questions before, but the hand still shows that it's raised here. We'll go Alan Siegel, followed by Steve Sanchez.
Hi, Matthew. How you doing, bud?
I'm well. How are you, sir?
Okay, thanks. Hanging in there. Matthew, you've already been a leader for this team. You mentioned a spiritual leader, but you've been a leader on the field also. I'm willing to bet without knowledge that you probably talked to several, maybe all of the players that have opted out. I'm curious, without obviously going against any competence, how tough were those conversations for you and for them? And of course, everybody's got to do what's best for their family.
Mm-hmm. Well, look, for me, they weren't tough at all. I support those guys 100%. Their number one responsibility, as far as I'm concerned, and I'll reiterate it, is to their family. They owe their families what they see as best for their families, to protect and provide for their families. And that comes well beyond and well before what happens at one Patriot place. So those guys have my full support. I respect their decisions. And I understand that all those guys made those decisions because they were choosing to put their families first. They were choosing to protect their loved ones. They were choosing to protect children, unborn children. They were choosing to protect spouses, parents. And in some cases, they were choosing to protect themselves. So they have my full support. I know that it's tough for those guys. You know, football's different. When you sit out for a year, you can't really get that year back. It's not like I can work till I'm 66 instead of 65. You know, there's a limited number of years you have as far as football is concerned. So that's tough. And you realize the opportunities and the blessings that come along with football that the Lord provides. So I certainly I'm able to feel for them from that side of things. But again, I support those guys. I know that they were thoughtful and prayerful when considering their decisions. And we look forward to having those guys back in the fold, hopefully this time next year or before that.
Now, just quick follow-up. Do you think from any conversations that you've had that there might be some more Patriots players opting out in the future before the deadline?
I have no idea. I mean, look, that's none of my business. Like I said, each man has a responsibility to his family to be a protector and a provider and to be there for his family. And what they choose to do is up to them, and they have my full support either way they decide.
Thanks, Matthew.
Next question will be Steve Sanchez and followed by Ian Steele.
How you doing, Captain?
I'm well. How are you?
Pretty good. I just, I mean, you've been blessed with a great father who played in the 70s, and I just want, curious if, when the protests started and stuff, if you and him been going back and forth, as far as change, maybe seeing progress a little bit. I mean, well, do you guys still say, I think in your opening statement, you said, still got a long way to go.
Definitely. Look, my father, I'm so fortunate. I have the great privilege of having a great father who's been in my life, a great mother who's been in my life since the very beginning. And some of the things that they experienced growing up in Jackson, Mississippi and Meridian, Mississippi in the 60s during segregation, not having attended integrated schools until they were in the 10th grade, they have a great deal of perspective, and they've seen a great deal of change in their lifetime. I mean, there's obviously no denying that. But my dad and I both understand the human condition. And the number one thing that my father has passed on to me that I hold on to is our faith in Christ. And we understand the human condition. We understand that, man is going to miss the mark. We're going to sin. We're going to fall short. And that's why I always emphasize needing a plan of redemption, which comes through Christ and faith in him. So as we look at this, we try to look at it through the lens of the gospel. And, how does God see this? How should we view people? How should we view racism? How should we view justice? And I think the Bible is very clear on that. And so he always encourages me to go back to that. The one thing I appreciate about my dad, he never considered himself a victim, even though he suffered a great deal of injustice. He never was a bitter man, even though he had just cause to be bitter. And he would certainly attribute that to his faith. So that's the one thing that we cling to in times like these. We don't have all the answers. There's a great deal of uncertainty. I know that in his lifetime, he's experienced some things that he never thought he would get a chance to as a youngster, but at the same time, he's experienced hurt and pain that he never thought he would have to as an older man in life. And that's just the reality. That's the world that we live in. But I think, as we look for solutions and as we look for ways to move forward, my dad would tell me the same way I would tell you guys. It's got to start with looking at truth and what, there's a lot of opinions out there. There's he said, she said, the left says this, the right says that. Well, in my mind, anyone's opinion that doesn't align with the opinion that is explicitly expressed in the Word of God, well, they're wrong. And that's how we look at this. And racism would fall into that category. It's wrong. It's a sin that God hates. And, we're going to do everything we can to combat that with the love of Christ.
Thank you, Matthew.
Next question, Ian Steele. And again, these last two, Levin Reed and Alex Barth, will come to you if you have a question for Matthew. Go ahead, Ian.
Thanks, Stacy. Matthew, thanks for taking the time today. I'm curious, kind of similar to Steve's question, but how do you see the reception of the points that you and Devin have made today? Have you seen progress? Have you felt more heard, I guess, over the past couple of months, maybe more so than a couple of years ago when Colin Kaepernick made his stand?
I think that obviously there's a heightened sense of awareness now with everything that's transpired over the last several months. You certainly feel like you have the eyes and ears of some folks that you may not have had in years past. But again, I understand the human condition. We're never going to get to a place without Christ where we see things the same way, where we all agree upon things. And that even goes within the church, people within my own faith. So I understand that. I'm not sure how it's going to be received by us and our other guys going forward. You can already see how polarizing it is. I'm going to try to approach this issue as prayerfully as I can and to operate within, good conscience as it aligns with biblical truth. So how are we received? I don't know. I'm glad that conversations are being had. I'm glad that people are doing some self-inventory and taking stock of maybe some of the decisions that they've made in the past or some of the attitudes and biases that they've carried with them. And we'll see if we can push the needle forward. But again, I don't think we see any sustainable change without the Lord in the midst of it. I think we're just kind of making some efforts in vain otherwise. So look, we'll see how it goes. My prayer is always for more unity, more love, more grace with one another, more forgiveness, more, and I'll continue to pray those things and trust that the Lord will work the way that he's going to work.
Thank you.
Next question is Levin Reed, followed by Alex Barth. Go ahead, Levin.
Hey, Matthew, how's it going?
Well, how you doing? Good to see you.
I'm good. Good to see you. I want to thank you for your comments, and I want to thank you for your insight. And as I'm listening to you, I'm hearing the draw of family in a lot of the things you're talking about, whether it be your wife and 3 kids, and you talk about your dad and your mother and how you grew up there. How hard is the decision at a time when maybe you just want to put your arms around your family, that you're gonna kind of go away to work when and when you could just basically do the same thing that you would do before? You can still go out there, still be with your family, and still kind of preach the word that you want to, but you are still going to go to your football family, so to speak, and work with them also. How hard was that decision?
Yeah, well, it was difficult. With my wife having the background that she does as an MD, I think that she knows a little bit more, and it made the conversation a little bit tougher. Obviously, my parents have their own concerns, and as I have a young family that I'm trying to raise, and as I continue to emphasize, protect, provide for, spiritually lead, it's been difficult because you want to make sure that you're hearing from the Lord and doing what He wants you to do. You don't want to be selfish. You don't want to be just acting just on the spur of the moment or off emotion, whether it be fear, whether it be excitement, whatever it may be. So we try to be as prayerful about this as we could. Well, we feel at a place of peace now. I think it's just a matter of us moving forward, continue to pray, continue to support my family at One Patriot Place, continue to support the Slater family. There is no easy decision for this. This is an unprecedented situation, especially within my lifetime. You don't have answers. You don't have a lot of experience to draw from. So, it hasn't been easy, but I think we've arrived at a place where we feel fairly comfortable as we move forward.
And we have one final question, Alex Barth.
Hey, Matthew, how's it going today?
Well, how are you, Alex?
Good. I just want to ask you about, you are now the longest tenured player on the roster, and I know you're somebody who prides yourself. Sorry about that. I know you're somebody who prides yourself in your leadership, and having been in the locker room more than anybody else you're looking at. What does that mean to you, and what do you think that does for you as a leader?
Well, I tell you what, I have an abundance of gratitude to be in the position that I'm in now. And I've learned from some great men over the years. I've been very fortunate and blessed to have been around some tremendous leaders who have taught me a lot of lessons in leadership and have really shown me the way. They've shown me how to treat people, how to be professional, just how to approach the game of football. As I'm in a position now to be the longest tenured player on this team, I want to make sure that I go about it from a place of gratitude. The Lord has blessed me and ordered my steps and ordained my path for me to be here. And I want to make sure that I don't just take that blessing and hoard it. I want to be able to use my experience, my wisdom, and pass it along to the younger generations. I want to encourage, I want to uplift my teammates and empower them to go and do, even greater things that I've been able to accomplish professionally. So I'm extremely excited and humbled that I have this opportunity. I thank God every day for preserving my body, preserving my mind, and allowing me to still be doing what I'm doing. And it's my prayer that I would have a positive impact on my teammates. And when they think of me, 10, 15, 20 years down the road, I hope that they think about the relationships that we had. I hope that they remember Matthew Slater, the man, more than they remember Matthew Slater, the football player. And then I hope that they felt like I was someone that was in their corner, encouraged them, and pushed them to be greater. And, that's really going to be something that we have to embrace as a team this year, considering all the unique circumstances that we're being faced with. And I'm happy to serve. I'm just happy to be here. I'm thankful. I still feel like I have to earn my way and earn the trust of my teammates, and that starts with hard work, but that also starts with showing them that I care about them as men, and I care about, the trajectory of their lives moving forward beyond the game of football.
Thank you very much, Matthew. We really appreciate it. James White will be next.
Thanks, guys.
How do we inspire people to lead their healthiest lives? How do we bring everyone together so that healthcare finally works for all of us? We know how. We are the how. Optum. How well gets done.
Ready or not.
Gillette ProGlide and ProGlide Gel. 5 blades and a pivoting flex ball designed to get virtually every hair on the first stroke while washing away dirt and oil. So you're ready for the day with a clean shave and a clean face.
What's my retirement savings plan? Oil, baby. Oil. Sprinkler pipe. Diane!
Why is this? Why is this it? Okay. Yeah, it should fit. It should fit.
The take it back for something smaller with the CarMax 7-day money-back guarantee way. Whatever your way, that's the way car buying should be.
For Matthew, but I'm hoping you can. It'll apply for James as well.
Foremost, thanks for speaking with us today. Stacey, it was for Matthew, but James, just to start this off, both Matthew and Devin McCourty kind of been talking about their roles as leaders of this team. And I guess going into the same type of question, during such a time of uncertainty, going from virtual training to where you are now, how do you find yourself as a leader of this team and just everything that's been thrown at your guys' way?
Just setting the right example, just making sure everybody's locked in practices and meetings and walkthroughs, all the protocols for the coronavirus, just making sure everybody's taking the right steps to keep each other safe. This is a difficult time right now for plenty of people across the world. We have to make sure keeping ourselves safe, our families safe, our teammates, coaches, everybody. So it's a lot of stuff that goes into it. At the same time, we didn't have an off-season program, so kind of behind on that. So just making sure everybody's up to speed with everything and working as hard as possible to put the best product out there whenever we get to a game.
Thank you.
No problem.
Next question will be Mark Daniels, followed by Doug Kye.
Hey James, how's everyone doing over there on your end?
Good. How about yourself?
Good, man, can't complain. So it's obviously it's unusual times, and I think we can all understand why players have been opting out. But obviously 8 players for your team, it's by far the largest in the NFL. What do you guys have to do just to get over another hurdle? And I know players and coming and going, something I think we ask you probably every year, multiple times above, but this is just a little bit different. And sort of what's the attitude of the team with, just sort of the current departures, and how do you guys move forward?
Guys just step in and fill those voids. Each and every year is going to be guys coming, guys going. So whoever's in that locker room for practices and games, they're going to go out there and compete to the best of their ability. So we go out there and put our best foot forward. So no matter what guys have left and what guys have opted out, they made the best decisions for themselves and their families, and that's what's most important. So just going to have guys step in, work hard. Like I said, we're on like kind of a time crunch right now. So everybody's just working together, making sure everybody's on the same page, everybody's learning the same thing. So like I said, we can go out there and fly around week 1.
And so one more for you. How serious did you consider, opting out, and how difficult of a decision just was this based on, it's your career and life and family and all that?
It's definitely not an easy decision. Having a little one at home, my wife's pregnant, so definitely a lot of consideration. It's definitely not an easy choice. Like Slate was saying, I was on here. You don't want to be selfish, knowing that we love and want to play the game, but we have to, want to protect our families at home, our teammates, our coaches, and everybody. Definitely a difficult choice, but I feel like we're trying to take the right steps and all the precautions at the stadium, and we have to trust in one another to do the right things outside the locker room so we don't bring any unnecessary things into the locker room. So, but at the same time, we all can do the right things and stuff still can happen. So you have to be as cautious as possible. Just keep everybody trusting in one another so we can all be safe.
Thank you.
No
problem. Next question will be Doug Kye, followed by Mike Giardi. Go ahead, Doug.
Hope you're doing well. What was your reaction to the guys so far who have chosen to opt out? I know that you're really close to Brandon Bolden and playing with a lot of those guys for a long time. So what was the reaction when you saw all that?
We obviously knew we're going to be guys opting out. Like I said, everybody has their own unique situations for themselves and their family, so they have to do what's best for them. And we all completely respect and understand the decisions that they made. They're doing what's best for them and want to keep them and their families safe. So definitely big ups to all those guys. I know they'll be tuned in and, staying in tune with all of us, making sure everything's going fine, and we'll be doing the same. And it's everybody across America, we're all trying to be safe and protect ourselves and everybody else around us at this time.
Next question, Mike Giardi, followed by Mike Leese.
James, good to see you. I think the last time we talked to you, we were asking you questions about Jared Stidham. Since that time, Cam Newton has been signed. I know when he was signed, there was a lot of reaction from players on social media, the googly eyes and all that. Just have you gotten a chance to talk to him and just sort of gauge, what kind of teammate he might be coming up this season?
I haven't gotten a chance to talk to him really, but I know he's a very competitive, very good football player. Excited to have him in the locker room. We have 3 talented quarterbacks on this football team, guys that can go out and compete and help us get wins. So I'm excited to work out with all these guys and excited to see them compete, as well as we're all going to be competing for playing time. So it's going to be a lot of fun. It's a time crunch right now, so we're all trying to, hit this as fast as possible and be on the same page.
Thanks, James.
Bro.
Mike Reese, followed by Karen Garigian.
Hey, James, good to see you as always. Thanks for doing this. One of the things Coach Belichick mentioned the other day was a lot of changes inside the facility. Since you went in there, what stood out to you about what's different?
I mean, there's a lot of different stuff. I said we had to follow all the right protocols and make sure we're keeping each other and our families as safe as possible. So going in there, you just feel a little bit more comfortable, a little bit more at ease, seeing all the things they've done to the facility, they changed it to make it as safe as possible. So like I said, it just comes down to us trying to do the right things to protect one another.
How is the locker room, if at all?
Everything's spaced out. Everything's spaced out, giving everybody the right amount of distance from one another. Like I said, just making sure doing everything possible to, try and keep the virus out, even though, like I said, it can be uncontrollable at times. So doing whatever we can.
Karen Garigian.
Hi, James. Nice to see you, even if virtually.
Good to see you.
I was just wondering if, does the outlook for the team change, given so many guys have opted out? Are you kind of just trying to stay afloat right now?
The outlook doesn't change whatsoever. Like I said, we're going to come in here from day one whenever we get into the building as a group. Like I said, work extremely hard, get everybody up to speed, get out there, work hard, condition, get up to speed with the plays. Just can work every single day to, be the best team we could be. Like I said, there's going to be new guys stepping in for guys who aren't going to be there. New guys on the roster this year. Every team has adjustments to make. Everybody's behind the 8 ball, nobody's off-season program. So it's going to be whoever comes in these 6 weeks or whatever it is and puts the work in. It's going to be the team that starts off the fastest. So we have to be one of those teams to work as hard as we can to put the best product out there.
Great, thank you.
Next question is Alan Siegel, followed by Molly Hirschberger.
How you doing, James?
Good, how are you?
Okay, thank you. You guys have had the more opt-outs than any other team, and I've read some things around from different teams and different things around the league about some of the things being said about players opting out and teams, et cetera. I'm wondering, though, has the Patriots organization done this the right way in terms of talking to you guys, allowing you without pressure, not you or anybody else, to make the decision just based on the family and not based on the team? In other words, they have not put pressure on anybody. They're allowing you guys the opportunity to make the right decision either way.
Everybody's decision is completely 100% up to them, and whatever they feel comfortable doing, there's no pressure from anybody whatsoever. Like I said, everybody has their own unique family situations, health situations, and they're going to make the best decision for them. There's no pressure whatsoever from anybody.
Thanks, James.
No problem.
Next question will be Maury Hirschgordon.
Hey, James, hope you're doing well. In college and the NFL, you've worked with mobile quarterbacks, both times you've been there.
Yeah.
What are the advantages to, I guess, having a mobile quarterback at your position, specifically as a running back?
I mean, it's another threat on the offense. Like I said, the defense has to respect the quarterback's ability to escape the pocket, run the football on any given down. So it's another threat and another viable option for sure.
And I'm looking down the list here. I think that was the final question. Oh, sorry. We've got Megan O'Brien and potentially Alex Barth again. Go ahead, Megan.
Hi, James. It was announced last week that Troy Brown is now one of the running backs coaches. What have you learned from your time working with Troy Brown?
I learned a lot. I mean, I've had plenty of conversations with Troy even before he started working with the running back specifically, but he's a guy who's had a lot of success in this league and with the Patriots organization. So it's great for us to be able to pick his mind as running backs to help us, as far as running routes as well, something that we do a lot in our offense. So it's going to be fun working with him. He's a very energetic, passionate guy. So it'll be exciting to have him with us.
And just to follow up, how does he complement Ivan Fierce?
It's a great compliment. We have, a little bit younger guy and an older guy, so you get a little bit of both. And like I said, they're both passionate about football, and they want to get the best out of each and every one of us at running back. So that's all you can ask for from a coach.
Thank you.
No problem.
I believe this will be the final question. Alex Barth.
Hey, James. James Devlin announced his retirement earlier this offseason. You spent a lot of time with him in the backfield. What did he do? What will you guys miss from him on and off the field, and just your thoughts on his retirement?
I mean, he's a great person, first of all, great teammate, very welcoming to anybody who came into the locker room from day one, worked extremely hard on the field, in the weight room, always in the weight room lifting crazy heavy weights. And so he's everything you epitomize everything you want in a teammate. So definitely going to miss that guy. He's very versatile, blocking, catching, special teams, did whatever the coach needed him to do. So definitely going to miss him and wish him nothing but the best, whatever he wants to aspire to do after football. Like I said, and with missing that void, we have young guys that are going to have to step up and kind of fill that position, just like whenever anybody else leaves. So, but definitely going to miss that guy. He's a great person.
Thank you.
Bro.
James, it is 4:31. Thank you very much for your time. This worked very efficiently. Thank you for calling in early and being ready to go right on time.
No problem.
And thanks everyone for your participation.
Thank you, James. Thank you.
Thanks, James. Stacey.
Jason.
Thank you, Stacey.
Thanks, Stacey.
Guys.